So this is a video I've had a lot of requests for. It's just going to be a tone preset building workshop as we walk through, and I'll demonstrate what all went into the design of my Dr. Z patch that's in my preset library. A lot of people wrote back to me by email once they got it, and they said that was their favorite one out of everything. This is a patch that I built while I was working on the cruise ship late last year and early this year, and actually I built it with my Strat. It's designed for single coil guitars, however, and I'm going to use my Telly with it. This is a semi-hollow Ibanez Talman, pretty affordable guitar actually, and I think it sounds better on the Telecaster. But anyway, I'm just going to walk through some of the presets here, and it's a free preset just by way of sharing the settings on the screen. If you would like the .hlx file download, it's a donation of $5 or whatever you think 50 presets is worth to you, and I'll send out that bundle to you via email. There's information in the description for that. You can always check it out on my website as well. So let's jump over to HXEdit, and I'll show you, the patch, and I'll walk through everything here. So always the first thing you do is set your input impedance, and that's done over here in the input block. Click over there, and then I switch usually between 1 meg for humbucker guitars and basses, and then 230K for single coils. So 230K is a way to take a little bit of the high end off naturally. Think about it like changing the potentiometers or the capacitor value on your tone knob on your guitar. It just naturally bleeds out a little bit of the high end, which I find is useful in some of my brighter guitars. It just helps it play nicer with the amp block. And I should mention that these presets, usually I like to focus around just creating like a really nice dry tone that's EQ'd well, and it's going to work well across a lot of different systems. When I was on that ship, I tested it out with my in-ear monitors. I would build them, and then I'd take them to an isolated venue, no one in there, and I would just blast at 90 or 100 decibels with an FR speaker, tune them a little bit more, and then I would take them to the stage, play with them a bit, adjust some stuff as I went, and then finally I sat in front of house in the main theater and got to test out some of these presets to further refine them. That's my process, and I think it works pretty well. You can see all the settings here for the amp head, which is the Dr. Z amp head, and the 2x12 matchless G25. I got distracted. I was going to say these are HX Stomp presets, 6 blocks, right? And it's not going to work on HX effects because of the amp block. But a lot of people with the bigger units do take these presets, and they'll take the dry tones. So anything having to do with compressor, EQ, overdrive, or the amp and cabinet blocks, and they'll throw them in their unit and kind of use that as the foundation for building their own presets around. Some of these effects, they're pretty easy. I think they're pretty intuitive to dial in with Line 6. So this is, and it's controlled with footswitch 5 if you have an external footswitch for the Stomp. This is just a Jerry-esque filter, auto wah. I don't need to go through that. Let's hear the dry tone finally of this amp. That was the neck. So a little bit of drive there if you really dig in, and I think especially on single coils that works well. Dial in a little bit of the overdrive just naturally, and then if you want to back off, really creates like this nice, smooth, sustaining, clean tone just by your picking technique. So here's all the settings for that, and you'll notice footswitch 3 over here is controlling the mid frequency, so that's going to boost when I hit footswitch 3. Actually, it was already on the solo boost there, my bad. So this is the stock setting again. Footswitch 3, when I hit that, it'll become a solo boost. And it's also boosting the level output here by 4 decibels. Yeah, so let's hear it without the solo boost, and then I'll hit it so you can hear what that would sound like. Imagine the actual decibel boost in the level is helping it, boost the entire level of the thing, but the mid is helping it cut through the band mix a little bit. So you got some of the, the special frequencies where it counts to cut through a band mix, where you've got like synthesizers or strings or horns in there. Adding a little bit more mids to your guitar signal is always going to help with that. Middle pickup, this is without the solo boost. So having a clean solo boost like that lets you solo either with this pretty much clean tone, or when I add in the overdrive block, it'll help us solo with that as well. Cool. So let's go on to the overdrive. This is being controlled with footswitch 2. Just a very simple setup here. Sometimes I like to get complex and change amp parameters while I engage the overdrive, but this I found that worked really well. It's the Heir Apparent, and this is a copy of the Prince of Tone, I think, by Analog Man. Doesn't matter what it emulates, does it? It just matters if it sounds good. So that's clean again. Turn on that overdrive with footswitch 2. Off. Something you might like to do when you add in overdrive is boost the presence a little bit. I thought it sounded pretty good as is, but if you got a darker guitar, when you turn on the overdrive, it's going to perceivably be a little bit quieter, just because some of the high end, especially, is not going to be as exaggerated. So turn up the presence a little bit if you want some of that to stay there. And as always, when you're dialing in for your foot switches with stomp switch mode, and this is how I like to do it because you can create different combinations here, I make sure that all of my patch changes, they all retain the same volume unless I specifically have a solo boost dialed in. So foot switch 1 is going to be a tremolo. It's just kind of that Boss emulation, the Boss TM, whatever it's called, TM2 or whatever. TR2 I think, right? So foot switch 1 is just a tremolo, and you got to make sure that that stays at the same level, especially with an effect like this. I boost it a little bit. If I didn't do that boost, it might sound like it's not at the same level. I like to keep all my levels the same as I go through these blocks, as if I would have bypassed the amp and cab. And that just ensures that my output level is going to be the same as if the stomp were bypassed. So sometimes I have this kind of weird phenomenon when I start it up that it'll act as if it's bypassed. Nothing even works in the effects loop, and it's bizarre. And I can't get it to change it. I just have to restart it. And that's happened to me live a couple times as well, where I've noticed that my amp sims weren't working. I was getting like a real fizzy sound when I hit my drive pedal. So I've rigged up all my presets to be at the same level as if the stomp were bypassed. So you can go into the front of house system, or if you're using presets to go into the front of a real amp, it won't matter then. So we've got the bass tone here. Then we can add in some overdrive. And then lastly, we can boost it for a solo if we want. Yeah, and then the tremolo effect. And then lastly, I should mention the verb block, by the way. It's just a spring reverb. These are the settings I like on it. I use this across a lot of my presets. This would be the first one I would sacrifice if you wanted to use the effects loop and use some external reverb and delay pedals like I usually do. I would sacrifice the spring block. It's not that important, I don't think. It's just always on. You could trigger it to foot switch 4 if you wanted to, but I just choose to leave it always on. I don't mind it. Lastly, I have a always on compressor, and this is just very mild. It's an LA Studio comp at the end of his chain. It's always on. The mix is set to 65, so it's not going to be that noticeable, and the peak reduction and the gain is very low as well, and it just kind of helps, you know, clear everything up before you send it to front of house if you're going direct with this. And as well, especially with using digital modeling, I feel like we're always missing an element of compression that we get from natural tube amps. So sometimes a little bit of extra compression at the end, after the reverb, after the tremolo, you know, that can just kind of help, you know, kind of glue everything together. You're building presets, and the Helix is cumulative. So although it might not make that much difference, it's still worth it to have in there, and it's really worth it to dial in all these blocks in the amp and the cabinet really well, and, you know, make sure everything is pulling its own weight as much as it can. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to you in some way. Share with a friend if you feel like it, if you know someone that might be interested in this. If you would like the preset library, it's a donation of $5 or whatever other amount you would like to give to support the channel and these preset building, patch building workshop videos. I've got more Helix presets on my website, by the way. I've just updated the website with a ton of stuff. So I've got my preset library, which is 50 presets in it right now, and I'm always adding to it. And these are just the presets that go along with the patch building videos that you just watched. And then I've got a bunch of other bundles on the website. So the preset library is sampling a little bit of everything. And if you find something you would like and you'd like an expansion on that type of thing, you can always find that in my store. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.